Hi.
Well, what a roller coaster like the last hour has been.
Yeah, that really kind of sucked. I definitely hurt my vocal cords in the 8th inning there, and now my heart is broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was yeah. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, obviously Matt and I, big Yankees fans. This is our time to shine. October.
Oh.
It should be. Hasn't been for the last 15 years, but and yeah. Coming into today up 2-0 in the ALCS. It's like, all right. And yeah, like I said, like the last hour went from down 2 to up 1 to up 2, and then back tied, and they just lost. Walk off
home run fashion. Two 2-run home runs in back-to-back innings with 2 outs.
Yeah.
Not good.
No. But
that's the best game they played all series, and they blew it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be excited. I still think they're going to win the series.
Just would have been nice to get the sweep and get it over with.
I don't. Maybe, but the way they're playing right now, I don't think they're going to beat the Dodgers. And if the Mets get by, then they got a shot. But man, their base running mistakes are inexcusable. They're killing themselves with getting picked off of first base. The 9th inning there where Glaber got the sac fly, like that was a big insurance run, obviously. But for Glaber and Soto to both get ABs in that inning with runners on third base and only get 1 run in, that's the difference there.
Yeah.
So it's really that's a game they should have won.
Especially, I mean, you did, you penetrated the impenetrable. You got the 2 home runs back to back off Class A. Like,
right.
You gotta finish the job at that point. You can't.
Yeah, you're only gonna get to do that once. You're not gonna get that again.
No.
Bright side, Cleveland is burning through their bullpen. If this does go 6-7 games, I feel by the end of the series their bullpen is going to be shot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering they took on some heavy innings in the series with the Tigers too. So.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And look, Judge is having good swings when he's making contact. At least he's still striking out way too much. 1 through 4 is producing, and we're getting some help from the bottom. It's the middle, like it's 5, 6, 7. It's just been a hole.
Yeah.
So I guess Wells was in the 4. He was splitting with Stanton and Judge, but Wells, Chisholm, and whatever we're able to get out of Verdugo or Volpe is just icing on the cake, and whomever is playing first.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's. Yeah, like I said, it just would have been nice. I was like, I wasn't okay with them losing when they were down 3-1 or whatever it was, but I was like, okay, like, it was Cleveland's first game home. That's fine. But like I said, come back the way they did, take the lead, and then to cough it up like that was just like, ugh. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Especially, Weaver makes that great play to turn the double play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You feel it's got to be over there. And, kudos to the Guardians. They pulled it out. I mean, look, the Yankees could easily be down 0-3 in this series. They have not played well the first 2 games. Cleveland just keeps making bigger mistakes.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that. So we'll see. Tomorrow's Game Force tomorrow, correct? Tomorrow night?
It is. It is.
I'll have to go 2-screen with SmackDown.
Come on. There's a clear priority here.
Motor City Machine Guns, baby.
Okay.
No, you're right. I'll probably watch the game and DVR and watch SmackDown Saturday morning or something. But
Yeah, we can pass through all the stuff you don't want to watch.
Yeah, fair. That's been a whole lot of that on SmackDown lately, actually. So, do you want to? Originally, I was just gonna, especially if Yankees would have won, I would have gone Yankees and like right to Lions. Or do we want to do wrestling first, or do we want to?
Yeah, we can do wrestling. That's fine.
All right. That sounds good. Let's talk. Let's talk a little AEW first. I didn't finish Dynamite. Just interested in your thoughts in this hostile takeover that's going on with Mox and the BCC. I like the pre-production promos, like the one that he did right after the pay-per-view that they played at the beginning of the Dynamite last night, of him sitting in the back of the truck as they're driving away.
Past fans, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I like that stuff. It just feels like it should be a bigger deal on the show. It feels like it should be this overarching thing that literally everyone, maybe not everyone, but like, you can't have Adam Cole come out at the end of the pay-per-view as part of the concerned group of people for Brian, and then have him come out first thing on Dynamite and not even mention it. I mean, I get he's got another focus right now, but still, like, if you're going to have him out in that spot, you need to have him at least in passing make mention of it.
Isn't it, man? Here we go. Isn't that kind of just the problem with AEW in general? Is I think people take this idea, because the criticism was, they don't have storytelling. It's not the overarching parts, the big parts of the story where they struggle. It's the little things that are supposed to get you interested in the first place. And things like what you just mentioned make you go, well, that doesn't make much sense. Much like it doesn't make much sense that Adam Cole is coming back and he's the good guy in this feud with MJF because everyone knew Max is a snake. He cut the same promo everyone's cut on MJF for about 3.5 years now, and it's like, I guess we're just gonna accept that you didn't turn on, you weren't the heel when the split happened. Like, people weren't upset at you, and that, okay, that's fine, I guess. If that's
they went full MIB neuralizer on that, which, I mean, MJF's a heel now, like, so it's
okay. But this ties into an overall theme that I got from the show in general. Jay White is a babyface now. Jay Switchblade is a babyface with the Bang Bang Gang and Juice Robinson.
Yeah, they've been getting cheered.
Okay, but the cheers aren't what dictate the heels and baby faces all the time. And I get it's fluid, but I have a hard time buying Jay White as a baby face all of a sudden, and like I'm gonna watch him fight from underneath with Christian. Like, that's, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy that part of the show, but mainly this thing with the BCC is what the Elite takeover should have been. Yeah. Whenever they started it a few months ago. So I know they introduced that aspect of it last night, but to me it's like, well, you just got competing factions trying to take over the company when it's already kind of a stretch for anyone to really buy into, they're going to take the company over. We know they're not actually taking the company over. So what could this all possibly mean?
Right.
And I think we all know it's not going to be a satisfying conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because these types of takeover storylines never really work because everyone knows it's not a real stake.
Mm-hmm. Right. My other nitpick of the whole thing is, and this will probably come in time, whenever we get to set who Moxley's first actual challenger is going to be, because it could be Darby, could be Orange, there's a couple different options, but I'm over the vagueness of the I'm tired of the egos and the blah 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 blah. Like, all right, if you're gonna call people out, call them out. Like, who are you, Antonio Pierce? Like,
yeah,
we got people making business decisions, and so I got to make a business decision. Like, what are we doing here? Like, start calling some people out by names here, so we can get an actual feud going.
Well, and I have a hard time getting interested. Like the I don't know how you said you didn't finish it, but did you see when they attacked a second time? They beat the hell out of the Dark Order, and
yes,
then they got in the truck and drove off, and John Silver chased them.
Yeah.
Forgive me for not being interested in the Dark Order calling out BCC and then Action Andrade and Top Flight. Like,
yeah,
these are curtain, like, and no disrespect, but like they're not stars. They're not on the level of the guys that they're going up against, and it's a kind of a lame way to break into this story for me.
Yeah, I don't need BCC beating up the the people who are hardly ever on TV.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like when the luchadors would run out and try and attack the NWO, and they would just
get decimated.
Decimated.
It's interesting you bring up the NWO. Like, from the way Moxley's been talking too, it sounds like they're taking on members who believe in the cause. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if this is going to expand into a bigger, and not an NWO invasion the way it ended up being in WCW, but a variant of that. I don't know what that could be.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're going to add more people to this thing, because otherwise it just becomes 5 guys and
against
the roster against the whole locker room. And how does that not get settled, right? If it's that big of a problem. So
yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm still willing to give it some time here, but they essentially murdered Bryan Danielson at the pay-per-view, which Brian's obviously never seen Four Brothers. When someone puts a plastic bag over your face, you got to rip it. You got to tear the bag.
Yeah, whatever. I know a lot of people are hyped for how they did that. When I saw I read how it ended, I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't order that.
Yeah, it just, to me, the thing where I was like, kind of rolled my eyes was that they had Yuta, double cross Bryan, and earlier in the night they had Fletcher do the same thing with Ospreay. It's like, yeah, so
it's and we've belabored this point on here, and I think now that we know how the storyline played out, there was no need to take the belt off of Swerve at Wembley. You ended a great title reign to add something to a story that didn't need the championship added to it.
Well, especially because Moxley's not even, like, he's got the championship in a bag. Like, he's not even carrying the belt. So, like, yeah, I'll be interested to see when whoever beats Mox. It'll be interesting to look back couple years down the road and think of this period of time, it's like they really went off course there with the title there for a few months that they didn't need to go. So, but we'll see. I am glad the aforementioned Adam Cole is back and healthy. Hopefully he's able to stay healthy this time for an extended period of time. So yeah, I'm just happy to see him back. I'm happy he's got, even if it is kind of just, kind of like, hey, don't remember the last time you saw me in the wheelchair with the devil mask. But he's got his old team back, so that's good. And yeah, I'm just happy he's okay and ready to come back.
Yeah.
So
he's one of your guys. I know you're probably thrilled for him. I don't have a problem with him. I don't have high expectations just because I don't really have high expectations for a lot going on over there right now.
Fair. Over in WWE land, they have a few things. I mentioned Motor City Machine Guns just making their debut on SmackDown tomorrow. Pretty interested to see. I mean, they certainly seem to be like making them at least a semi big deal with the vignettes and stuff like that. So hopefully, like, as I'm shocked that they're going to the main roster. I'm happy they are, because obviously they don't need NXT. I just figured that they'd come in as player coaches in a way. But no, I'm thrilled that they're coming straight up to the main roster, and sounds like they're probably wrestling Humberto and Angel Garza tomorrow. So that should be a fun little match. And I'm excited for those guys to come in. So
it's look, it's fun on a they're from our area, like.
Well, yeah.
And they've, it's cool to see guys from our area like make it to that level. And you and I have been following them for a very long time. They were on the first Ring of Honor show I went to, and I had already knew who they were prior to that. But like seeing them live was like, man, these guys are really, really good, and they were what hooked me on ROH. My shoot job, I've actually got to interview them both a couple times, and they've been real, great about their time and telling me, helping me get stories together about them coming through the area. As a WWE watcher, I have zero expectations for them to do anything after 6 weeks from now, because the tag division isn't taken seriously. So there'll be a TV act. Maybe they'll catch on and get a little bit of run through like the Rumble season, but historically, the way they treat tag teams, they're going to be an afterthought by the first of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you pointed out the vignettes. Weren't they running vignettes for weeks for War Viking Raiders or War Raiders, whatever they came back on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Middle of the show, kind of a dead point. Felt like the segment was just kind of over and done with.
Well, it was a weird show too, because it was a tape show. So,
all right, but my point is, just because they throw vignettes behind somebody or put them on the main roster, like if you look at the overall way the division is treated, I'm not expecting a lot.
Yeah. Hey, just give me the Guns vs. DIY at some point. Guns vs. Street Profits, that should be good too.
Right. They'll put on great matches on TV, but as far as becoming a focal point of the show, the tag champions aren't even focal points of the show. So like, why would two guys who've never been even around the company suddenly come in and become a big part when, I mean, really big parts of the show of the company are being left off PLEs and things. So
yeah. Also on SmackDown, I want to get your take on this. How they've played out this Kevin Owens turn. I think it's been very interesting. He posted a video to social media the other day. Like, I sent a video into WWE and they haven't played it, and I'm giving them till Friday. And if they don't play it, I'm going to play it. Explaining, it's going to explain my side of things. So, I don't know. Do you think he's actually got something that legitimizes his position, or is it more going to be like, what are you talking about, Kevin? Like, what? Just get your thoughts on it overall.
I mean, I think his reasoning is going to be like, who the hell, like, Cody is such a liar and a backstabber, and he's trying to get forgiveness for all these guys who did nothing but horrible things to him and Sammy and Cody and Randy and Matt Riddle and now Cody is just continuing to try to be the guy that mends the fences with all these people, and KO has worked really hard not to be the guy that was kind of known for doing that, right? And then here comes the White Knight, Cody Rhodes, and suddenly because Cody's doing it, it's okay, and we're just forgiving these awful bloodline members for everything they've done. I think that's just like, basic wrestling psychology is the best heels are the ones that are vindicated in the way they feel that way. Lust in your eyes for Elizabeth, right? Like,
right.
That makes sense. So I think it's going to work well. Everyone involved is a tremendous performer, both in the ring. Well, Kevin and Randy in the ring, personality-wise, charisma-wise, they've all got it in spades that way. So they're going to they're telling a great story.
Mm-hmm. And because Cody's got the month match with Gunther at Crown Jewel, you got time to, roll this out and flesh it out until probably Survivor Series. Him and Cody and Kevin tangle again, I would imagine.
It could be a triple threat at that point.
Could be. I'm a little surprised that Kevin's the one they decided to turn, and maybe they eventually turn Randy too. But I was like, I thought for sure Kevin was a red herring, and that Randy was going to be the one to stab them both in the back. But no, they went with Kevin. So
I think at some point Randy's going to turn on Cody too.
Oh, it's going to happen at some point.
I think this makes the way they're doing it right now. I actually think makes more sense because Kevin has been fighting next to Cody this entire, like, side by side with him for a couple years, right? Remember, he was with Cody trying to get Sammy, to realize the error of his ways, and I think that
Cody was the one trying to play mediator with the two of them, trying to get them back together,
right? And convince Kevin to forgive Sammy, and now he's doing it again, and it's like, no, these guys aren't brothers to me, whatever. I think what's going to be the real breaking point for Kevin is when Sammy agrees to go back and help the bloodline with Roman and Jay and Jimmy. That's going to be where Kevin snaps completely and goes full-blown psychopath. And I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely. So on that note, Jimmy returned at Bad Blood, and him and Roman on SmackDown last week doing their best to try and fend off the new bloodline. At the beginning of the show, Jimmy was like, "Hey, Roman, we need help," and the crowd, of course, keys in on what's going on, start doing the yeet chant, and Roman says, "No yeet," and everyone's like, "Ah," and then they get beat down at the end of the night, and you can hear Jimmy yelling at Roman. It's so funny. He's yelling at Roman. Roman's like selling the spike to his throat. He can't breathe or talk, and he's like, "Roman, we need help. We need help." And Roman's just like
over and over again. Yeah.
That was funny because I was watching, my wife and I were watching it, and we were both like, God damn it, Jimmy, I can't talk right now. I got bigger things to worry about right now. I can't breathe.
Your dipshit brother just stabbed me in the neck.
We'll talk about this later. Just
Yeah.
let me catch my breath. But and then again, because Raw was a tape show, I wasn't really expecting any progression on that this week. But they did. They filmed some backstage stuff that didn't get spoiled. So I actually was like, I didn't watch Raw because it's like, all right, it's a tape show. Yankees were on. Or no, yeah, Yankees were on Monday night, right? Yeah. So I'm like, and then all of a sudden I see, oh no, Jimmy was backstage waiting for Jay in his locker room, and they had a couple interactions, and so as of right now, and I'm glad that this is how it's going. Jay's basically telling Jimmy to fuck off.
Yeah.
So, which is good. He should right now. It should be a lot of work to get him to agree to help Jimmy and Roman out.
Yeah. It'll take approximately 3 weeks to figure it out.
I think it'll be a little bit more because you've got till Thanksgiving weekend. So
yeah, maybe to get through the crown jewel thing. The big turning point will probably come at crown jewel. Now that I'm thinking about it,
could be.
like not Jay joining them, but the catalyst for when Jay decides, all right, I need to help the family.
Right. Yeah, because then they're going to have to find, because then he's going to have to recruit Sammy too.
Right.
So, or maybe Jimmy goes and recruits, they get Sammy on board first. And then Sammy's the one that pulls Jay in.
Yeah, could be.
So, either way, I'm excited for this to ramp up and get rolling to War Games.
I guess it's gonna be a long few weeks.
Right. Yeah. So, other than that, I really didn't have anything else wrestling related I wanted to talk about, unless you had anything.
I mean, we weren't on last week, but I mean that Hell in a Cell match was.
Oh yeah.
Go, yeah. I mean, it. Everyone knows by now, but just kudos to both those guys for wrapping up that story in an incredible way. They hit a home run when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Stanton-esque of them to pull that out.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was fantastic. It was I don't know. It proved what I've been saying is that the answer isn't more blood. It's blood at the right times.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
So you sprinkle those matches in over the course of the year, and you're golden. If you got people bleeding every other week, it's not as effective. But
which is the other channel is already like beyond that. Like they're already at a point where it's like, okay, what else can you do to shock us all? Like I thought it was the ending of Wrestle Dream where Excalibur is crying. Like they just did this to Brian like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What changed? Like now it's emotionally upsetting. It's we're strangling people with bags and setting houses on fire and diving through glass and like it's really getting to a point where it's like you're gonna lose the shock value if you keep doing all this crazy stuff. Sometimes simple is just effective is the most effective way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, no, that match ruled. So yeah, like you said, good for them. All right. Well, once Matt gets back, we'll talk about the Lions, the good and the bad from this past weekend. And I'm sure we'll get into what they should do going forward. That'll be a good discussion. Oh, here we go. Every week we get like 30 minutes in, and then all of a sudden it's like
it's almost like it's set after 30 minutes. It has to refresh or something. I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Well, is that it then? Wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. A little bit of good news, bad news from the last weekend. I want to focus more on the good news. Well, I want to spend some time on the game itself. We'll get to the Hutch thing and what they do going forward, I get it, but I was really bothered how a lot of, I only listened to one show, so I should probably be fair, but I was really bothered that it was very much just like the doom and gloom of the situation instead of just like basking in the fact that they snatched the soul of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. I don't know, maybe I'm just like different in that after the injury happened, obviously when what happened, I was like, oh man, this sucks. But then they they kept pouring it on after that and kept pulling tricks out of their bag and all that kind of stuff. And I was just having a grand old time with the game, even in spite of the horrific injury to Aidan Hutchinson. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
My video's not working, so.
All right, that's fine. But yeah, I just the Hutch injury aside, that game was awesome. I loved you know what my favorite play of the game was?
David Montgomery's first touchdown run.
No. I think it was the drive after that, and Jared threw a pass to JMO, and JMO dropped it.
Yeah.
And the very next play, they went right back to JMO.
Right, and he caught it.
And I'm like, last year that wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have seen the ball the rest of the game. And it's like they trust him. They know that, okay, even if he drops one, I can still go to him. And then even, in the third quarter, he ended up with another long touchdown. So that was my favorite play of the game. It was like, all right, yeah, because I was like, oh no, JMO, he dropped one. Oh no. And then they went right back to him and he caught it. I'm like, all right, we're good.
All right. Yeah, so. He's we said it at the start of the year. If he gets going, that offense is going to be lights out. And the first couple games, the offense struggled. But who was the one making the big plays? JMO. And now the teams are like, oh, we really have to account for this kid. Suddenly it's opening up, and Amon-Ra's getting more touches, and Laporta's getting the ball a little more. And hell,
you mean Tim, slot merchant?
Yeah, that slot merchant. Brock Wright had a few catches a couple weeks ago, and Tim Patrick seems to be filling in that Josh Reynolds role real nice now.
Yeah.
And I think all of that happened once JMO established, hey, you guys got to know where I'm at all times because I'm Tyreek Hill. If I get a step on you, I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fast. He, a couple years ago, Quandre Diggs was like the man, and he burned him a couple times in that game.
Yep.
So,
and it looked easy. It looked like it doesn't. When you see those highlights of Tyreek, and you're like, how did he get that open? And then you see it's like he makes one move, and once he's got that step on you, you can't catch him. And JMO's done a great job of learning how to track the ball that 40 yards downfield too. That was a little bit of a problem with him early on, and he seems to have figured that out a lot better. So it's awesome.
Right. Well, I think part of that too was his route running wasn't up to snuff. So if you're not running the right routes, you're not going to know where the ball's supposed to be.
Right.
So, but now that he's knows the routes and is running them correctly, and so he's able to snag those balls. So, yeah, Montgomery continues to be an absolute monster. He's just so good.
He just doesn't go down.
No, he doesn't. I think it goes it's kind of like the MVP thing. They don't like giving people the MVP too many times in a row. Like I think Kyle Brandt was like, I can't give him another angry run scepter already. He's already got 2, so I gotta spread this out a little bit. But that first touchdown run was like, my God.
I don't know if that one was better or the one in the third quarter where he went on the sweep to the right and he ran over he ran through 2 arm tackles and then he hit a guy and stumbled forward for 5 or 6 more yards. It was just like they're up 30 points almost in this game and he's still just bowling dudes over mad at the world. Jamal Williams took care of this team in a way he didn't even understand when he turned down that contract.
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
If Jamal takes that deal, they offered him the same deal they gave Montgomery. I love Jamal Williams. He didn't run like David Montgomery does.
No.
That might be the best thing that's happened to this team is a guy they love telling them, "No, I want more money."
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just you could tell that game was personal to them. And they just they just demolished them.
The Cowboys talk a lot of shit. CeeDee Lamb had jokes at the Pro Bowl. We saw the stuff with Jordan Lewis after the game with him and Amon-Ra. The Cowboys think that they're this incredible franchise. They haven't been relevant, in terms of a winning organization in 25 years. They're not who they think they are. They're kind of approaching the Yankees have approached that territory. It's been 15 years since the Yankees were even in the World Series. You don't get to be the big dogs when you don't get to the big dance for 20 years.
Yeah.
And the way things ended last season, in Dallas and
that's what I mean. You can tell this has been sitting with this team all off season.
Yeah.
That once once we play them again, it's gonna be ugly, and it was. I had my going into the game, I had my nervous energy where I'm like, I don't know, maybe Dallas bows up, and it's like, nope. They snuffed that out real quick. Brian Branch had a monster game.
That's who I wanted to get to.
Yeah, he's both. I mean, I don't have any issue saying that we've got the best safety tandem in the league right now.
No, not at all.
Him and Kirby are both they both are separately doing things that haven't been done since Ed Reed.
Right.
It's like look, anytime you get put in the same sentence with Ed Reed, it's like, okay, all right.
Look, man, Branch is. I think I said it on here a couple of weeks ago. When they landed him, I was over the moon. I'm sure you remember the conversation. I wanted him so bad in a Lions uniform, and he's lived up to any expectation. He's surpassed it. I mean, he's only in his second year, and he's already, a disruptor in that secondary. He's he's being compared to Ed Reed and because of the statistical stuff and the fact that he's a hard hitter and he's in on everything. He reminds me a lot of Troy Polamalu too. He just seems to always be around the football, and then he's making plays when he's around the ball too. it's so much fun to watch. And you know, Kirby's just you know, hanging out playing center field and daring these quarterbacks to throw deep on him.
Not even throw deep, just throw it in the, like, all of his interceptions have been
Try
in
to
the
get
end
it
zone.
over the top. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the one this week, it was, yeah, I dare you to throw it to the back corner of the end zone. I'm right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Cooper Rush.
Right.
Did you see the stat on about throws into the end zone this year?
I saw one, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
So opposing teams against the Lions on throws into the end zone are 1 for 14. With like,
yeah, and they've got like 4. I would just, yeah, and it's like 4 interceptions, right?
Yeah, 4 interceptions and 1 touchdown. So basically, we'll let you get down in the red zone, but good luck getting it in.
I don't like that. I don't like that strategy. And
no.
But that's the defense they've been playing all year, and they're getting away with it. And we got to talk about the bad news now, Chris.
Yeah.
And the bad news is, you know, the way you help a secondary that struggles is you get to the quarterback. They're not going to be able to get to the quarterback right now, unless someone steps up in a way or the scheme changes in a way that we haven't seen them pull out before. We're in trouble a little bit.
Sure, we very well could be. I in no way am one of these people that are like, who's like, oh no, everything's going to be hunky dory. Of course we don't need Aidan Hutchinson, the probable defensive player of the year. Why would we need him? No, my position is all week has not been that. It's more of, can we at least get through the Minnesota game and see what it looks like, see how bad it is, and then start to panic and like really like, I got, like I said, like, press the panic button. You know, if Sam Darnold is able to sit back there this weekend and pick us apart, then the pressure is on Brad to go make a big move. But I mean, they got 3 games before the deadline. 2 of them are on the road against division opponents. You need to come away with at least one of those. And if you don't, then I think the those 2 days after the Green Bay game, then yes, something drastic needs to be done. But I'm not, like I said, I just want to see it first before I go into full on panic mode.
I understand that logic, but there's 31 other teams in the league, and there's probably 16 to 18 that think they still got a shot to do something this year. And if you're waiting until right up until the deadline, someone might be willing to pay a price that you can't pay to get a guy that could help you, when we know we need help right now. Because it's not just Aidan Hutchinson that is missing. We're missing Marcus Davenport. We're missing both of our starting defensive ends. We're missing Derek Barnes. Ife Melifonwu hasn't played all year, and who knows if when he gets out there, if he's going to recapture the form he had at the end of the year. He was supposed to be a starter this year. We're already missing 4 of our starting 11 from the defense that we were coming into the season with. I don't think they can keep patching it together, especially when Hutch was a big part of the reason you were able to hold it together in the first place. Additionally to that, go ahead.
No, are we? I know on paper we are. Are we really missing Marcus Davenport though? Because he only played a game and a half.
Okay, but you came into the year thinking we have solved a problem on the other side of the line from Hutch, because the guys that we have here can't solve the problem. You lost him, and you had to plug one of those guys in, and they did exactly what they'd done all the last couple of years, and that they didn't hold up on the other side and take advantage of the fact that Hutch gets doubled and causes so much problems. Now that Hutch is gone, you have another one of those guys on the line. That's not helpful. That's not good. It's especially when our secondary is not as strong as it would appear when you look at, they forced a bunch of turnovers, because they're still getting picked apart quite a bit through the air.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know. Part of it is, some of the targets that people want are on teams that aren't out of it yet and won't be out of it until closer to, theoretically won't be out of it until closer to the deadline. So it's like, a guy like Trey Hendrickson, there's no incentive for the Bengals to trade him right now because they still think they can get into the playoffs. They're not far behind Pittsburgh and Baltimore in that division. As silly as it is to say, even the Browns aren't, that division is not that.
Okay. Okay.
Look, I'm just saying, if the Browns end up Browns and Bengals play this weekend, like if the Browns end up, pulling one out against the Bengals,
the Browns are so sure that they can make it back. They just traded their best offensive weapon that's been healthy. Like, come on, dude. The Browns are out of it. The Browns they know they're toast because they know that their quarterback is toast. He's nothing. He's not functional, and they owe him like $60 million or $70 million a season for the next 2 years. Their franchise is screwed. They better start getting what they can for the guys they have on the team that have some value. And as far as Cincinnati not being too far out from Baltimore, they're 2 games back, and Baltimore already beat them. Like, so they're effectively 3 games back. Baltimore is easily going to win that division. Baltimore is still a legit team week in and week out. It's the playoffs where they fall apart, but they're going to win that division.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets, Hassan Reddick is been thrown around, and he's only an option because he's made it clear he wants an extension, and the Jets don't want to pay him what he wants. I don't want to deal with that kind of headache bringing him into Detroit. You don't know if he's going to look. The culture of this team is the foundation of the team. You don't know what that guy's going to bring coming into the locker room. And it could be a Randy Moss situation with the Patriots where he comes in and you find out, no, the headache he's not that bad of a guy. He's just really passionate and wanted what thought he was worth. It could be that situation, but it could be a situation where he takes money away that they need to have to pay some of these homegrown guys too.
On that one, my thought is that if Brad and Dan were to bring him in, I would trust that they're sure that he wouldn't be a disruption. Like I mean, they're not anyone that's even going to be a question. They're not even gonna mess with. I don't think. So.
I worry that. Go ahead, sir.
No. You're fine. Go ahead.
My big concern is last year, before the trade deadline, everyone knew they needed help in the secondary. They needed help on the defensive line. And they tried to go get scrap pieces, pieces off the scrap heap to fill the void, and they didn't go make a move. And what happened in this 49ers game, their secondary let them down. They couldn't get to the quarterback. And that's not to say if they would have traded for Chase Young, it would have made a difference, or you don't know because it didn't happen. But I don't want to go through another year of, hey, we clearly have an issue, and we're so worried about holding on to picks for the future that we pass up a chance to get somebody that can make this team a Super Bowl champion. And as much as we've done, as great as we've done in the draft and picked up a lot of pieces, you don't know that you're gonna find a guy like Terry and Arnold when you're picking at 28 every year. a first-round pick isn't really that big of a meaningful piece to us as it was 3 years ago when we were picking in the top 10. So, like, if it's going to cost me a first and a fourth and a future third to go get a Myles Garrett who's under contract for 2 more seasons, so that next year, if it doesn't work out this year, next year our defensive front is Hutch, Reeder, McNeil, Garrett. Come on. That makes us, especially you just said we got the best safety tandem in the league. That puts us in a category of like we might be a top 5 defense at that point to go along with an offense that's loaded. So like it's also the opportunity of like we can address an issue right now and go get a guy that might be able to help us for a couple more seasons before we have to pay Hutch and Branch and Joseph and all these guys. And then you can keep that Super Bowl window open even longer because you stem the tide for the next couple of years by getting another elite piece while your other guys are on cheap rookie deals.
I just think the way you extend that Super Bowl is hanging on to your draft picks and drafting well. Like if like you said what you said is the exactly right why I'm not like I want them to make like again, let me be clear. I want them to go make a move. But I'm not because you said, well, if it doesn't work this year, then you've got this. Well, if it's not going to work, like, then I'd rather because they already don't have a 3rd round pick this coming draft. So if it's not going to work, I'd rather just hang on to the picks and go from there.
Okay, but you don't just because other draft picks have worked out doesn't mean we held on to this pick. We didn't go get Myles Garrett. We held on to this pick and we went and got us a defensive lineman and it didn't work out. And you find out 3 years down the road it didn't work out. I'm willing to take the risk at this point because they've got enough pieces to be a contender. Now you got to go get the piece to make sure you're the contender. You're the top dog in the NFC. Again, it's another the reason I'm so bullish on this is it's another opportunity. The NFC is wide open for us right now. The 49ers are not the 49ers. CMC might be toast. Like, who knows when that dude's coming back? They're struggling. The Cowboys have fallen off. The Eagles don't look very good. The best division in football is our division. And you and I were talking during the week about what's going to mean when we are kings of the north again, when the Packers and Vikings are also out there. I feel like all we need to do is make sure we're good enough to beat those 2 teams, and it's a walk into the Super Bowl. You go get a Myles Garrett, a Trey Hendrickson, man. Like I feel like even with losing Hutch, I feel better about it at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, and again, like the fact what you brought up about the NFC being wide open, that's why I like again, I'm not like I said, until I see the product on the field and like if they go out there and the defense gets shredded, like I said, then I will be full on like banging the drum. But like I don't know. I just can't press the panic button until I see it. Like I just can't.
Right. But you also have to remember too, there's 3 games before the trade deadline and 9 after the deadline. So if you don't make that move now and then you find out 6-7 games from now, shit, we probably should have made a move, then it doesn't matter. You can't do anything about it then.
Well, the same could be said that if you go ahead and make a move and then something happens to someone else after the deadline, then you can't it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I mean, things happen all the time where you can't after the deadline where you can't make a move. Like, so.
Right. But it's an issue now and you could address it now is my point. Like, yeah, obviously if someone gets hurt in week 14, you can't just go pick somebody up that's going to make you replace that. But if you had an opportunity to at week 14, you'd probably want to do it. Well, you have an opportunity now to address a major need, and I feel like there's options out there to go get somebody that can actually help you.
Oh yeah, I mean there are. So okay, let's go. Obviously, Myles Garrett. I think the more likely one from Cleveland is Zadarius Smith. I think that's the more likely scenario if you're trading with Cleveland. There, everyone's brought up, Hendrickson and Reddick. There's a couple other ones. I've
Max
seen.
Crosby.
I wasn't even gonna go there. And I know the thing that he said, about not wanting to be part of a rebuild is circulating. I just don't. I'm not even going there. I'm just not even going there. And I'll be over the moon ecstatic if something happens, but I'm just not even allowing myself to go there. Mainly because I know that price tag is going to be way too rich for Brad Holmes' blood.
Maybe. Draft picks are so valuable to teams that are rebuilding, and that's another team that he's got 2 years on his deal after this year. They are clearly not going to be anywhere near competitive in the next 2 to 3 seasons. Not even close. They're already openly talking about, oh, we want Tom Brady to be an owner on the team because we have to draft a quarterback. Okay, so that means next year or the year after that is when you're bringing in your quarterback. You don't just bring in a quarterback and fix all your problems. So they might lose Max Crosby in 2 years anyway, which is, I think, a big part of the reason why they dealt Devontae. It's like we know this guy doesn't want to be here. He's unhappy. We can get something of value for him now before he just decides I'm just going to leave when my contract's up. So if the Lions came along and offered a first and a couple thirds, which is what I saw as like the kind of the starting point, who knows if that's actually true. Again, like I'm willing to do that. I am not worried about accumulating picks anymore. I need talent that is on the field that I know is proven that can help win big games and make plays.
Okay, but you can't keep everyone. So you got to replace those people through the draft.
Sure, that's fine, but I'm focused on I have a team right now that has a chance to win the Super Bowl in the next, I'd say 4 years is probably the window, correct? Before there's some money that's going to start to become an issue. Okay? I'm right now, whatever it takes to get it done in the 4 years is what it takes to get it done in the 4 years. And I'll worry about rebuilding in 2030. But I got a chance to win a Super Bowl in the next couple of years. I'm doing whatever it takes. And I'm not counting on 21-year-old kids to over and over come in and make all the difference.
Yeah.
And it was different when they were picking in the top 10, where you got a chance to go get real, look, not can't miss guys, but like these are the elite players coming out of college. We need to make a play for one of these guys. Getting a Jamison Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're trading picks that are in the bottom, 5 of the first round, they're not nearly as not a sure thing again, but you're not getting as much unquestionable talent, right? There's a reason Terry and Arnold slipped to where he did, and we're seeing it on Sundays. He's got a lot of skills. He's got a lot to offer, but he's still got a lot to learn, and it's hurting his team right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting better.
He's getting better, but I don't want to be waiting on all these guys to be getting better in the same spot in 2 years when the window is starting to close, and because we haven't gone to go get a guy that could have helped us during one of these years when we needed it. You know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I at some point you have to stop counting on the kids, and if you have a hole and you can use one of these picks to fill that hole, go get it.
Yeah. I guess that I guess we'll see. I guess maybe part of it too is I'm just managing my expectations. So I'm not one of these people that are like irate if they don't make a move, because I'm not, you set your expectations low enough, you won't be disappointed. So maybe that's part of it too. I don't know. Last week before Hutch even went down, I saw an interesting. What do you think about? I guess you might be able to get either one of them, because it doesn't look like Jacksonville's going anywhere, especially if they end up losing to Drake May and the Patriots this weekend. But either Trevon Walker, who ironically was drafted ahead of Hutch in that draft, or the other Josh Allen. I think he's got a hyphenated name now.
Yeah.
Is it Josh Allen Hines or something like that?
I think so. If we're talking like fourth rounders, third rounders, maybe, but only if my overtures to go get a bigger, better player have been rebuffed, right? Like, I'm not sitting here saying if you call up, if realistically, let's say you call up Cincinnati in 2 weeks and they're 2-6 and they're willing to trade Trey and they're like, it's going to be 2 first rounders. No, piss off. Like, I'm not saying mortgage everything.
Right.
But if they don't even want to entertain the idea of trading first rounders, that's where I'll be like upset, right? So yeah, if it's cost a fourth rounder to go get Trevon Walker, give it a shot, sure, well, fine. But if they do that and that's just all they're gonna do, that's not enough for me. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't see a scenario where they're trading a first rounder. I just don't.
I don't know. This whole rebuild got kicked off because the team was willing to trade some first rounders because they thought they had a chance to win a Super Bowl. And you think Sean McVay gives a shit right now that this team is what are they, 1-5 or whatever? No, he won a Super Bowl. Like, he knew that was the cost of doing business. Yep, I mortgaged the future, but I got the ring. That's what matters.
Yeah. They were also on that, they were on part of that was that they were on at the. See, I think if this were like you gave the 4-year timeline, I think if this were year 3 or 4 on that timeline, I would be more banging the drum more. Because it's like, okay, we gotta get this done now, otherwise we won't get this done. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, they got 3 weeks. Or a little over 2 weeks now. And yeah, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens Sunday against the Vikings, and we'll go from there.
Mud hole stomping.
So
I think they're gonna beat the hell out of the Vikings.
I mean, you better hope. If you want them to make a move, you better hope not. You better hope they lose.
Nah, I think the Vikings come back down to earth this week.
So we'll see. It's a game that I thought that they could lose with Hutch. So I'm not going to be so arrogant to think that they're definitely going to win it without him. But I think they have a shot, definitely. So, because I don't think Minnesota. Well, they played Houston, but other than that, Minnesota hasn't really. I mean, Green Bay. Yeah, no, I guess they played a couple good teams, but I don't know. They almost choked that Green Bay game away. They almost let the Jets back into it in London. So
I think Sam Darnold is
he's on pump and watch.
That's exactly the shine's gonna wear off sooner or later, and I feel like it doesn't look like Aaron Jones is going to be 100%. And not that teams are running the ball against us well anyway, but that could be different without Hutch, obviously. I think our offense is cooking so much right now. I don't believe Sam Darnold can put up 40 on us. So, and I feel like our offense is just at a level right now where 30, 35 points is just easy. It's easy money for him.
I hope so. The Vikings defense has been playing pretty good, but definitely probably the best defense that we've played so far this year. So
yeah, maybe.
When you consider all the people Seattle had injured when we played them.
Yeah, that's fair. Tampa was missing a couple pieces too. So
yeah. So
maybe I'm over estimating it. Then I do think we're gonna win. I'm not. When I saw that we were the underdogs, I'm like, that's perfect for me. Like, I'm glad they're not favored in the game.
So, and one last thing, and then we'll get out of here. And I know, like, you can't count on this sort of thing. Like, it's not anything tangible or anything like that. But I don't know, man. I just feel like if there's a team that can like rally around this, it's this team. Like just like even like the the locker room after the game when MCDC's giving the game balls and Goff turns right around and gives his back to Campbell and is like our fucking coaches are fucking rock right now. It's like and again, like I said, I know that's not something you can count on as far as stats and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. It's definitely not something that can be underestimated either.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And I told you after the game, like, this team is built for overcoming adversity. Like, they're still going to win games.
Mid-sentence, he leaves me. Oh. We'll give it a couple minutes, see if Matt comes back, and then we'll sign out of here. But yeah, I don't know, man. As part of it too is I'm just not ready to like give up on the season in weeks, going into week 7. Like that's very like I've given up on seasons this early before, but for like because the team has sucked. Like I hate to be like we have no shot of winning the Super Bowl because one of our best players got hurt. Like that's a depressing thought. So, he's back. All right. Mid-sentence, it like just kicked you right in the nuts.
I hate this so much. It's so unprofessional.
It's okay. But yeah. All right.
One last thing.
Yes.
We need to get this started. We got to figure out how to get this moving.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. You and I have been talking in the last few weeks about acknowledging our tribal chief, Penei Sewell.
Yes.
Our
OTC, our offensive tackle chief.
Our OTC.
Yes.
I feel like somehow, Montgomery and Gibbs have dubbed themselves Sonic and Knuckles. I need Sonic and Knuckles to give our tribal chief a blue Ulafala for the big games. When he's given that speech pregame, can you imagine if he's got the blue Ulafala on over?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the NFL's got some stupid rule that would make he'd get fined for wearing it or something. But I think it would be awesome if we could get Penei a blue Ulafala.
I agree.
I don't know if
who
he's
would
a
be
wrestling fan, but
yeah, I don't know either. There's got to be some of. See, this is where Jamal Williams would come in handy.
Yeah. Hey, we need you. We got this idea. We need you to take him in Ulafala.
So who would be the wise man?
Oh man, that's you know what? I didn't think about that. I mean, I don't know. Would it be Jared Goff?
I was thinking him. I also was thinking Goff could be the Sammy.
See, I feel like that's more of like a JMO thing, like the goofball, or maybe Amon-Ra. Like,
Yeah.
I can see Amon-Ra saying, "You're nothing but a number 2, my dog." Like,
Right. I am gonna miss the sparring session between Penny and Hutch before the games too.
yeah, that's a little rough, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Those two really seem like they have a connection.
Yeah, I mean, they're the arguably the 2 best in the league at their respective positions, and they get to go against each other every week. I'm sure that's got to be a special bond.
Yeah. So
a little bit like you and I, right?
That's right. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. We'll be back next week, hopefully talking about a Lions victory, and hey, hopefully we're talking about a new defensive end too. We'll see.
Well, and American League champion New York Yankees.
Yes, hopefully we're talking about the World Series next week as well. So
don't look now, but the Broncos are making a run for the Super Bowl, baby.
Yeah. Ooh, Bo Nix, baby. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we could go trade for Chase Young again. Take another crack at it.
Yeah, why not?
All right, everyone. Until next week. See ya.